It's 2020, and I've made it a mission to make this a year of learning.
Happy New Year!
Personally, I've set out to sharpen my tools in entrepreneurship, business, and most importantly, After Effects. This leads me into the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers classes for the everyday person, from graphic design to interior design. More about that later on. Let's get into the video. What's up, filmmaking family, friends, fam jam, Zach here. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about cinematic style within video using colors. Now, this is color grading, but also a few other little tricks up my sleeve that I use to make videos look good. And I'm gonna be using the example of 3 different projects that I've worked on: a short film that I made called Freelancer, a tutorial that I did that a lot of you like the color grade to, and finally, a little bit of a cinematic, I use the cinematic B-roll segment from a short film, from a little short doc that I worked on. And this can be broken down into 4 different things: from set, setting, wardrobe, lighting, and of course, color grading. So let's hop right into it. Okay, so the first thing you should know about LUTs is that it really doesn't matter which one you purchase. Just find a pack. There's a lot of really good ones out there. The one I'll recommend for you guys is the cinematic color grades from Triune films. Those have been my favorite pack that I've picked up within recent years. I'll add a link to that in the description below. And I've pumped that into a lot of my videos, mostly because there was a bunch of different looks. Everything from Batman versus Superman, Prometheus, Harry Potter, and my personal favorite, which is the Drive LUT. Now, the reason why I use the Drive LUT over most other ones is because it has a very nice orange teal look. But as you can tell, once you just pop a LUT on, it doesn't elevate your project immediately. It doesn't go into looking super duper cinematic, and there's a lot of tweaks and finessing that you should do. Personally, I put on that LUT a very small percentage of the actual shot. I lower the opacity right down. I do a lot of my tweaking by boosting up the contrast, playing around with my white balance, and I have a video that dives a little bit deeper into my color grading process, which I'll provide a link to in the description below. But mostly I use a LUT as a base layer and then really elevate that by playing around with lumetri curves and adjusting the hues and saturations and the actual colors within skin tones and all of that sort of fun stuff. Again, think of a LUT as your sort of base style layer, and then there's so much more you can add on top of that. Even within my short film Freelancer, now I did not do the color grade. A lot of the color design and style was really emulated off of what flavor we were going for and what movies we were trying to emulate. Sometimes the better way to look at how to create a style within your film is to reference it from other movies. So our film Freelancer was referencing a lot from movies like The Matrix, series like Black Mirror, and the movie Blade Runner 2049. And when you put all of those together, that was really sort of the base layer of the style that the colorist used to make of our film. And with color grading softwares like Premiere Pro, you can do some color matching within it, or just look at the image beside and try and find the similarities within styles. So for example, with Freelancer, so we sort of had our base layer reference film, and then we hopped into creating an overall style. Now, a tutorial that I did that I've gotten this comment on quite a bit, really was based on the set that I was in. Now, the color grade has a very nice, like orange and teal type style that looks really good. It punches out super well. But the reason why those colors punch out is my backdrop. Now, where I was sitting had blue walls around me that had a nice, like rich tone to them. And I complemented that with a nice orange light in the back, which then gave it already that orange teal vibe. So I didn't actually have a lot of work to do within the color grade to create that flavor. And then my wardrobe, my shirt was blue within that as well. So I was playing around with a color theme. For those of you who want to create a cinematic style within your videos and you're shooting in the same space always, think about what you're wearing, think about the lighting that accents the space. And really, that doesn't have to play a whole lot within the color grade. For example, this shot that we're doing right now has a purple tone across the ceiling, but that's not done in the color grade. This is done in the color grade, but the actual tone and color of it is a light that I have within the back that is contrasting with a light that I have up here. So a lot of your cinematic flavor can be done through costuming and, of course, the space that you're filming in. realistically, you want to try and find a space that doesn't have sharp colors on the walls or just something basic white. Something like a darker gray or a very like muted navy blue works super well. Something that complements someone's skin tones as well as diffuses light super well and doesn't become super distracting within the frame, I always find is super valuable. And if you don't have an option of how to decorate your room, figure out what you're wearing, your wardrobe, the color of your hair, all of that stuff applies within the color of the shot because obviously that fills the frame. Now again, you can make minor adjustments within a color grade by adjusting maybe some of the tones within your shirt by going into lumetri curves or perhaps adjusting some of the skin tone within your skin, but the vast majority of it is not found within LUTs, it's found within on set. All right, the next thing I wanna hop into is lighting. Now, the big thing with lighting is that can really determine the color of the vast majority of your space. Like I said before, the lighting that's within the background of this space, I use this Falcon Eye foldable light that has a very cool couple presets that create a cool light within the back. If you don't have funky RGB lights, you can try using gels by putting them across basically your household lights. I'll link some cool gels that you guys can pick up in the description below. Okay, but I know some of you are like, Zach, but how do you get like that moody, like a cinematic look thing to your video? Well, of course, you can play around with cool color grades. One of my favorite things to do is actually to desaturate my images by literally just going into Lumetri Curves, doing a slight desaturation, and then boosting certain colors to really pump into that shot. So for example, if I want it to be like blue and moody, maybe I'll desaturate the skin tones, but really blast out the blues within the shot. Or if I want the audience's eyes to focus on something that's red within the frame, I'll do a color selection, find that one specific color tone, boost that right up, and then desaturate everything around it, or change the hue of that so that it really bounces out. Playing around with hue, saturation, and different colors within Lumetri Curves is probably one of the best ways to get an image's look within your video. And again, remember, LUTs are just the base layer, and then all the little mechanics in between are really what can elevate a certain cinematic style within your video. Finally, I think one of the most important things to focus on with color grades, and something that I'm still learning, is to make sure your skin tones are right. If there's one thing that drives me crazy about my old videos is that perhaps my skin tones weren't the right color tone. That's the first thing I think any colorist should really like master and figure out, because if there's something that's gonna throw your audience off or even a client off, is that if someone looks jaundiced, if their skin color is too yellow or too green or maybe too red, I find that if you can master the color of someone's skin, make sure that it's properly balanced, everything else is just sort of the cherry on top. So personally, that's the first thing I focus on, and also why I like doing landscape videos and shots that people aren't in, because that's something that you don't really have to spend a whole ton of time into. But again, to adjust someone's skin tone is relatively simple by playing around with Lumetri Curves, by doing a specific selection tool of that person's skin. I find that boosting the exposure slightly, desaturating the skin tones a little bit if by chance they're too punchy, and then playing around with your white balance can really help get the skin in a very good spot. And there's plenty of other videos out there that really dive deeper into the skin tones of making an image perfect. And I'll link that in the description below. But overall, for all three different examples within making a cinematic video or making just a good video with a great grade, it really banks off of three of the most fundamental things in filmmaking, which is set design, wardrobe, and lighting. And then all the other stuff is sort of elevating that within post-production. For those of you who want any of the things that I talked about within this video, or to give that a gander, you can look at that in the description below. And to finish this off, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that teaches a little bit about everything in the creative space. Personally, one of my favorite features on Skillshare is their staff pick section. I've been learning a lot about entrepreneurship and being a better freelancer in 2020. If you click the link in the description below, you can take a look at Skillshare's variety of different courses, along with get a 2-month free trial period. And after that, it's just a $10 annual fee. So brush up on your 2020 skills and make 2020 the year for making dope content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all in another video. Love you. Bye.